Have you seen that story? Boris Johnson's government only briefed sort of half the journalists that turned up to a conventional press briefing, offering the explanation, having severed the group in two and kicked half of them out. We're welcome to brief whoever we want, whenever we want. Whenever we want. Oi, I'm going to brief you. It's bedtime. I'm busy. I'm playing golf. Isn't it interesting when a sort of despotic demagogue emerges, like Trump or Boris Johnson? Do you not sometimes find yourself almost liking them a bit because they so overtly exemplify the ongoing subcutaneous problems that have been endemic within that system for so long that you almost want to stand on the sidelines, applaud them and say, see, this is your system. Your system was always going to deliver to you, Boris Johnson or Donald Trump or whatever. And their sort of their personal panache or gumption, or sort of in the case of Trump, sort of roaring brash bonhomie, or Boris Johnson's bumbling affability, kind of garnishes upon the aforementioned despotism. Is in a sense, you can only approve of that aesthetic inflection instead of being judgmental of it, because I feel like, well, look, we've been heading this way for a long while. Now, I know people better educated, better informed people than me that say, no, Russell, you cannot be dismissive of politics, you can't be dismissive of parliamentary politics and democracy, because it's still a powerful thing, it's an important thing, and you could even argue, why do massive organisations spend so much money lobbying government? That in itself is evidence of the potential for parliamentary politics and government to enact the will of some people, even if what we primarily see is them enacting the will of powerful, manipulative global corporations rather than the populations that they're elected to serve. At least they're serving someone, even if you don't agree with who it is. The fact that they're able to be of service shows that there is some value. But it's difficult for me to sort of feel sympathetic or sad towards the press, because the press in general have participated in the general corruption, oppression, misinformation that the last, let's start with 30 years, have been defined by. So it is inevitable. It was inevitable that we would create Boris Johnson. It was inevitable that we would elect Boris Johnson. It's inevitable that Boris Johnson would mimic the tactics of Donald Trump, because they're working. I mean, I don't know much about politics, and recent events have served to reinforce that idea. But I reckon Trump's going to get another term, don't you? Like, who are they going to churn out of that Democratic Party? When Joe Rogan supports Bernie Sanders, people go, oh no, you shouldn't accept an endorsement from Joe Rogan. He's like the Oprah Winfrey of our time, that dude. And like, people on the left don't want his endorsement. Or when for me, I feel like then further cataclysm is required. Like Brexit, Trump's not been enough for the lesson to be learned, until you see like a legitimate, realistic response to the conditions we're currently witnessing, by which I mean a genuinely different type of politics, a genuine attempt to alter the systems and institutions that operate as a platform and foundation for the passing political figures of each 4-year term or era. Until there's systemic change, you'll just get various iterations of this that will either appeal to you a bit or not much. You might like Barack Obama and not like Donald Trump. You might like Donald Trump and not Barack Obama. You might like Tony Blair and not Boris Johnson. When Margaret Thatcher said that her greatest, when asked what is your greatest achievement, she replied, New Labour. This tells you where we've been since then, in a landscape where even though now I suppose we are seeing the emergence of polarization in national politics, nationalism, and what's regarded as liberalism. But here's what I'd like to contest: how different are these things really? By which I mean this: isn't the point of politics to affect the lives of ordinary people positively, wherever possible, as much as possible? For me, that means people want to spend time with their families. They want to have leisure time. They want to live well with dignity and purpose. which political party is giving you that? There is just rhetoric of different flavours, like hate-filled rhetoric, judgment, and piety. No one's saying, hey, would you like your life to be like this? Here is a vision for you as a human being on the earth who is going to die. You could be living like this, in some kind of harmony with the people around you, yourself and your environment. So again, Boris Johnson turfing half the journalists out. I recognise that if you operate on the bandwidth of, hey, if politics is important to you, then this is kind of seismic. But if you think that what we're watching is the sort of the deterioration, a kind of grey apocalypse of the bureaucratic class, and to some degree the peeling back of the facade, then these kind of minor events within it don't mean nothing.